Hi everyone, this is Diane. Well, in a recent video, I showed these books and mentioned that I was going to be cutting the pictures out of them, but then using the covers to make journals with eventually. Normally, I don't take the golden books apart, these little books, because they don't take up any more space with the pages in them than they would just the covers, pretty much. So I take them apart when I'm ready to make a journal out of them and then use some of the pages or all of the pages in the book, or I'll take some of the pages and cut them up and use the images. But these particular ones, I really wanted the images just to make ephemera with. So I had mentioned that, and one of my friends and viewers asked me if I would do a video showing the harvesting of these books. So I had already done this one last night. That's the results. So this one is just an empty book cover right now. These two I haven't done. I brought in a few other. Most of my books are already taken apart because I don't have space for storing books with their pages. Let me talk a little bit about what happens after I take books, children's books, apart. I did show in that same video, I showed the trays that I put my pieces on so that I can make clusters. And I do have just a few of the clusters left. These are just shapes that I die cut, and there's a tag there, and then a letter from, or a number from a scrapbook, and then this is a children's book illustration. And then these little ones, again, with punched or die cut shapes and whatever pieces I want to use in them. So this is some fabric pieces, because on some of them I will use some fabric pieces. So I've got triangles and a few circles here. On the big tray, it was a mess when I showed it to you. I said I had to organize it. So that's what I'm doing right here. I already sorted everything into piles. So here I will put the pieces, pieces that will be fussy cut. This one isn't completely fussy cut. Some of them are. So I have big ones and smaller ones. Those little ducks that I showed you in the other video, they're in this pile. So even the little ones, I could separate them, and I might end up doing that. But little things like those little ducks and just smaller images would be for something like this. So there are my images. And if you don't have access to a lot of children's books, or don't want to cut up the ones you have, you can get digitals of children. So these are from various sets of digitals that I had cut, and there's a little duck toy too that's from a little book. So you can, look for children's digitals. These I got from Amazon. So there's other possibilities for finding images. And then I will have extra pieces, like this is an old scrapbook line from Stampin' Up! With these numbers. So I just cut little pieces off of that and use it, as you saw in that one piece. And then I will have a pile of die cut and punched shapes, and I will have to do more before I actually sit down to do a session with these. And I have done these on video, making some of these. And these types of things are inspired by Carla Frizell. So I do have some shapes die cut and punches. So, but like I said, I'll have to do some more because I'll need some bigger ones. I like to have a variety of sizes, shapes, colors, so I have just what I need. And then I also have stars, because I have a relatively new set of star dies. So they'll be a fun addition. I also have a few tickets that I can use, so I'll put them right here with the numbers and the dry cleaning tickets. And maybe this piece is just a scrapbook paper piece, so small scraps that I could round the corners or leave it as it is, and some little doilies. They might be useful to be bases. And I have some pieces that I might use as tuck spots. I didn't completely cut them out, so because I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with them. See this, I don't want to separate her from her garden, so if I leave the poem on there, I could just trim it a little bit nicer and use that as a little pocket. So these pieces I'm leaving bigger. Some of them are square, they're in a box, so it's just natural to cut it out just like that, and you have a journal card that you can use or something like that, or a pocket that could be cut into a rectangular shape and used as a pocket or a tuck-in or a card. So some of them I don't fussy cut all the way out until I know exactly what I want to do with them. There are some books that have numbers. I keep those, and borders, or these are little images I could cut out. And I have this from an old magazine from the 60s, or even earlier than that, maybe 50s. A goose with a funny hat, so that could be a cute pocket or tuck spot. So yeah, I have this here. Maybe I'll put the tickets and the extra things on this. I started out with just one tray, but then I decided I needed to spread it out into 2 trays. And I just take these to the couch and put things together, and a stapler, so I staple them together. So with more space on my tray, I can separate my little shapes into size categories, and I can, this wouldn't be here because they're already done, and I could separate my images into smaller and bigger, you know, so I could arrange these whatever works for me. Now let's look at the books. These are what I just cut out of this Mother Goose Rhymes, and if you ever see a vintage book illustrated by Margie, go for it. These illustrations are so cute. I love her illustrations. As I've been doing junk journals, I have discovered more artists, children's book artists. I knew I loved Eloise Wilkin and Corinne Malvern, but I pay attention more. I mean, I always knew I loved these kinds of pictures, but I didn't know who they were. So I pay attention more to the artists, and I know that Margie is one that I really, really like. So there were a lot of decorative edges, margins on these pages, so I got to keep a lot of those, and they will just be wonderful to decorate the edge of a page. Look at that one. A page, a pocket, or whatever I want to put that edge on. And these are the things that I kept from this book. So this one I kept as in a square, so I could make a nice, good-sized journaling card with him. And same with that. This one, I did cut around the shape, but that would be cute on a pocket. And that would probably be a pocket or a large card. And these, some of them, some of these are from the book that I used, made a journal out of, but they had the really bad crayon marks on them. So I rescued what I could. The deer has a little bit of crayon, but it's very faint, and I just punched it out, so you get, I still have the deer head and the bear head. You can still see some crayon right there. They're just kind of smudges of crayon on these pieces, but I had to rescue what I could. You can see the crayon on the back there, and these sweet little birds. So I did rescue them. And this little sweet girl will make a wonderful little cluster. This one, I cut something from one side of it, and so the main image here was cut into, but I was able, on this side, so I was able to, it was a bigger cat, I was able to rescue those little kittens. And just some sweet pictures. Some of these could be on a pocket, like this one probably, or some of these could be used in the clusters. Look at the cute little pigs. I don't see a lot of Margie's books, and I've looked at them on eBay and they're expensive. Maybe not super expensive. I can't remember now. Oh, look at this rabbit. This was on a page that was really scribbled up, but this little bunny was, he's got a little bit of crayon on his ear, maybe on his whiskers, but it's not very noticeable. And this bear has some crayon down here, but since it's not on his face, I kept it. Maybe the book would be affordable, but with the shipping, I thought it just made it too expensive to buy a book to cut up. But that depends on how you view things like that. So another thing I want to talk about before I open these books, and I mentioned these things briefly in the other video. I have 2 pouches of children's book pages. So when I'm cutting up a children's book, some of the pages I leave whole so I can actually use them as a page in a journal, like this would be great. And some of them I cut the images out. So this, there's a lot of different book pages in here. And this pouch is mostly the smaller size, but not necessarily. I just try to kind of keep them organized like that. So if I want to, but there's some big pages in the back. So if I want a big page, I might look in the other book pouch first. And here's the other one. And so there are some small ones in here. So as you can see, they're not definitely all the small in one and all the big in the other. Like this one is really cute. It came from one of those little Junior Elf books or something like that. And I thought the drawings are adorable, but I thought this would be cute just as it is in a journal. So here's another one from the same book. So she would be cute cut out. And so would that, but they're on the same, they would cut into each other. So some of them I just save, and if I want to cut them up later, I can. So that's one thing I do when I'm looking through the books that I cut up. And the categories of images that I have in my other pouches are, this says book pages miscellaneous, because some of my pouches are cut out of, things cut out of magazines. And I keep the magazines and the books separate, just because I have so many cut out things. So this says book pages miscellaneous. So we have, we'll go into this one last. This one is people, so mostly grown-ups. So there may be children in here, but if the grown-up is more the focal point or more prominent, I'll put it in the people. And there's a clown. It's a fanciful clown, and I love that picture. And I can't wait to use that in something, but I put it with the people. And the children's readers, this lady is more prominent. She's got a puppy there. So I put, if a child is with a grown-up and the grown-up is pretty prominent in the picture, I might put them in with the people. My children's illustration pouch is jam-packed full, so I don't mind having some in the people. So this little girl is right in the foreground. So she is the focal point, but there's some grown-ups behind her, so I put it in here. So, you know, you just put things where you want to. Lots of different illustrations in the people. So there's fairy tale people and realistic people, cartoonish people. People riding geese. That's Mother Goose. All right, so I have people, and I have flowers. Flowers, etc., it says. Now, these aren't necessarily from children's books, but I do put flowers that I cut from children's books in here. So some of these are actually the magazines and books together are in here for flowers. But there are a lot of flowers that I get from children's books, flowers, etc. So botanical stuff from children's books get put in here. So sometimes you can cut an illustration off of one side of the page and the other side of the page in a children's book. Maybe all you have left is a little bunch of flowers. So that's a window. So that could be fun, fun to do something with that. Put something in the windows. And then there are other flowers that are out of vintage books that aren't children's books. This pretty little flower border with a mouse. Oops. That's from a cross-stitch, nursery rhyme cross-stitch book. Some of the children's nature books have wonderful flower illustrations. And animals. I won't take all these out. There's, as I mentioned in the other video, there are animals and birds of various kinds, and insects. I don't do a lot of insects, but if I find bees or butterflies or dragonflies or what did I have? Oh, a grasshopper, I just put in here. Any kind of insect that I will tolerate as far as an image will go in here, but it's mostly animals and birds. So again, the same thing. They can be squares, they could be pockets, they could be individual images like this. So some of the images in here could go on my tray to be made into tuck spots or the embellishments that I make. But, what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. Oh. But sometimes I just use those images to just glue onto a page or glue it onto a pocket or something. So I don't want to create them all into tuck spots. Here's my little envelope that says small cutouts and words. I think I took all the small cutouts out, and all that's left in here is words that I cut out of magazines and books. So I need to go through these and pick some out that I can use in journals, because I just put them in here and then I always forget to go in there and get some. And then of course we have the children's the illustrations of children. So these are some nice bright ones. It was a really fun book. Not very old. I think this was from the 80s or maybe even 90s, but I think it was 80s. But I just loved the bright pictures, and it was a big book. Really good price from the flea market. This is another illustrator that I like, but I can't remember her name. So lots of children's illustrations. This pouch is fat. So the reason I wanted to save this for last is because this is everything else that didn't go in the others. So this is just, you know, a snowman, a wintry scene, a castle. This is a little mouse, but it's more about the weather. So buildings, just anything. These are cute little, a radish and a flower, but they have little poems on them. This is from a craft book, and it looks like a lollipop tree. Trucks and designs, and this was the end paper from a Junior Elf book. That's just a house from the Three Little Pigs. Scarecrow, sunshine, any sunshine I find I put in here, toys, anything that doesn't go in the other pouches. So there's a lot of fun stuff in here. Now we will look at a book. Oh, we already did that one. So I have these two. These were shown in my other video. I also brought in this one, which I took apart, but I left the pages whole. We'll look into that. I love that cover. And this one is a whole book. So I didn't even open it. I just brought it in. Same with this. So my friend was particularly interested in seeing what I would take out of these books. So let's do a little of that first. I spent 20 minutes just doing an intro. An informative intro, I hope. So this one is illustrated by Claire McKinley. And it's Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod. So even this right here is adorable. And books like these are difficult because the illustrations are great on both sides. Look at those wonderful children. And I love the moon. So I think I would enjoy using the moon more than this picture. And that one, I can take the moon here and this picture at the bottom. This is a great illustration. That would make a wonderful tuck spot. And let's see. It would cut into his head. So I don't know if I would do that, because I think I might want the children more. Like, at least him. The other ones are carrying little guns. So I would take at least this boy with the drum. Let's do that and then see what's left on the other page. So I'm just going to rough cut it, but I'll cut it as close. I'll cut around this so that I don't cut into the other image any more than necessary. And we'll see what's left over there. Got a little bit of the drum there. Oh no, it's a little bit of the soldier. So I think this is usable. And I don't know how close I'll cut. I'm just rough cutting it right now. I might cut closer when I actually use it. So if I made a pocket out of this, I could put a number or a decorative element down here to cover up where that got cut. On this page, it has children's dressed up, like, as it says here, Injuns. So I think on this page, I would just take these two little girls. She's got a bag of candy and a gumball or something, and she has a candy cane. So I'll just cut these out. I'm seeing if there's any phrases I want here. Have you ever heard of the sugar plum tree? I think I'll just keep that whole poem. I guess it's a poem. And I can take words out of it or phrases out of it if I want to, or use the whole thing. Look at this one, the children sitting under the gumdrop tree, or sugar plum tree. The calico cat, the gingham dog and the calico cat. That's cute, but I like this picture here. These pages are quite brittle. So this would be a large journal card Or if I had kept that on there, could have been a really big journal card. They're already cut, so I'm going to keep the words and maybe glue these together onto a piece of cardstock and make a larger journal card if that is required in the book that I'm making, whatever book I use that in. That clock is pretty. Yeah, I don't like that one. Tearing each other up. So I would just cut the clock out and use it. This would go in my miscellaneous pouch. It's really cute. And look, the hands on the clock really look like hands. They have fingers. This one has a crayon mark. I know that my brother-in-law gave me some books that he bought a lot of whatever was in this guy's loft in his shed. My brother-in-law bought, and he gave me the box of books that was in there, but I don't think this was one of them. Somebody, whatever child that was that owned those books had a lot of crayon, but I guess this wasn't one of them. So this is a cute picture, but she has crayon on her face. Let me see what's on the other side. Yeah. I might be able to get the worst of it off. I'll save it just in case. And there's a baby, the cunning little thing, eating. She's looking at the remains of her calico dog and gingham dog and calico cat. This one, I'm going to save this. I don't know, I like this little girl. I'm going to save this and then see what I can save from the other side. These pages are pretty fragile I can't fold them into a journal. Got her foot off. So I'm going to save her and maybe I'll use her for something. And sometimes if I can't decide, I just keep the whole page in my pouch and then take what I need when I'm making something. I might need one type of image more than the other. Now this would be adorable, but it is all scribbled up blue crayon this time instead of black. But this little girl right here is cute. There's a little crayon right there, but it's not on her face. And this one is glued to the back. So that would be, you know, if I make a journal out of this book, I would probably end up covering that anyway because of the crayon marks. I'll try to get them off. So anyway, for this, I would cut her out, and I'd probably cut her out with the two wagons behind her. And then, like I said, I would take the moon and cloud. This is awfully cute, though. And I would take this moon, and that picture. So there's that. This one, I think the pictures are bigger in this. My poetry book. Look at that. How pretty that is. Oh, it's a romper room book. This is illustrated by Flora Smith, 1954. Oh no, the pictures are smaller in this one. I really like this page. And I really like this poem. I read it to you when I first got this book. So I would save this whole page and tuck it into a very large pocket. I'm going to just hold that up and you can pause it if you want to read that. This is an A.A. Milne poem, Mr. Winnie the Pooh. This one's cute, the little boy proposing. And it is nice to keep an image with its poem, if you wanted to do that for something. Pretty little girl with her parasol. And I think down here I'll keep these two images. A little boy in a bear suit. This is a book about new shoes. So look at her shiny new shoes. Those were my favorites. When I got new shoes, I loved getting the patent leather church shoes. But I really like this image here because she's nice and big. And the colors are just gorgeous. I don't want to cut that yet. Look at that one. So beautiful. I hope I don't like the other side of this because I really love this. It's cute, but it doesn't compare to this. So I would cut her out, and then there would be a couple of animal crackers left that I could cut. I think I'm not going to cut it right now, though, because maybe I would want the whole page with the poem on it. This one is called The Animal Store. This little girl in her Sunday best coat and patent leather shoes is really, really cute. Oh, so's a kitten. But if I cut her out, I'll still have the kittens. I think that monkey wants the flowers in her hat. Yep. I still have 3 kittens and they're chasing butterflies. So I would leave this all together, and maybe this would end up being a tuck spot in the corner. I'll trim it better, but I think that would be cute. Oop. Fragile paper. Oh, I almost tore her. I mean, I tore the bassinet, but didn't quite. It kind of tore right along the edge of her dress. The squirrels are cute. Look at him. I don't do baby books, but this would be a precious tuck spot, corner pocket in a baby book, wouldn't it? I'm not going to cut that yet. A little girl playing in the sand and a little boy playing in the sand. He is cute. That little girl is adorable. I'm going to cut her out. and her. And I will leave the poem. It's a Robert Louis Stevenson poem. This is Robert Louis Stevenson too, about the friendly cow, all red and white. Yeah. This one I would probably put in a farm journal. I would make a large card. I'm going to put that with my farm stuff. A balloon man would be a fun picture. Yeah, I can cut him out. There's nothing on the other side of him. He'd be cute in a children's book. I'll even leave the birds below and above him for now. There's a squirrel running. I can have the kids with the birthday cake. And the squirrel. And since this says my, I'm going to put this in here, and maybe it will end up on the very first page of this, whatever journal I make with it. So they'll be together. Now let's take a look at these other books that I had. These are the only children's books I have that still have pages, like the full book. So this one is a Child's Garden of Verses, and Eulalie is another children's illustrator that is wonderful. And I took the book apart, but I did not cut anything out of it. This is a 1961 book. Look at that pretty picture. So if I cut this up, I would probably, or when I cut it up, I would take this, the swing with the picture all together, and then I can cut it apart if I need to when I use it. So any of these pictures you could cut out and keep them with the poem or cut them away from the poem. They're a nice compact size. Even this whole thing with its poem would be nice in the right size journal. That's a pretty one. But I'm pretty sure there are more of those larger color pictures. Yeah, there's one. So I didn't cut this apart because I figured I would use some of the poems and pictures with the journal that I create with it, and then I can cut up the rest of the book and put it with my in my pouches and stuff. And it doesn't take up a lot of space in my book storage. Neither of these are really thick books. This one is question and answer book. It's slightly warped, maybe. I like the end papers. Is that a fox or a man or only a mouse? A rabbit's big ears tell him run. Why do rabbits have big ears? That's the question. Why do teeth come out? So these aren't the kind of illustrations that I would normally cut out and use in a journal. But for this book, I definitely would take some of them and use them. So I didn't cut this one up yet. And time and measuring. I love the shape of this. It's a children's school book. preschool library from Britannica, 1970. This one does have pictures I could definitely cut out, but I wanted some of the long pages, the landscape pages, so I decided to not cut it up yet. Same deal with this one. I'll cut it up, all three of these. When I make journals out of these books, I'll use the pages that I want, and then I will cut it up. But look how nice these would be just to cut out and make. That would be a really cute journal card right there. What a fun picture. All those kids' faces in the window. Yeah. I never really looked at the pages in this. I just knew I liked the cover. There's a lot of fun stuff in here, but I'm not going to cut it up yet. I've got a lot of fun books to make journals with. So that concludes my session on cutting up children's books. I hope it was helpful to you. I think it's fun to just look at what other people have and what they do and what they plan to use it for and things like that. So I hope you found it useful, and I could have many sessions making ephemera with illustrations from children's books, as you could see from my pouches of full of stuff. But I can't, but I love them, so I always buy more. So I really need to have some serious sessions on using up children's book illustrations. All right, so I hope you like that, Leslie, and I'll be back with another video another day. Thanks for watching. Bye.